The hum of the coffee shop in Denver Eslodo district was my only company as I hunched over my laptop, crunching numbers for a late-night project. My phone pinged, and I glanced at the screen. A text from Jake, my roommate back in Boulder. "Yo, Nate, rented out your studio to cover my bar tab. Gotta keep my rep, right?" Ha. My stomach dropped. My recording studio wasn't just a room in our shared house. It was my lifeline. I'd spent years building it, piece by piece, with mics, mixers, and soundproofing I'd saved up for as a freelance audio engineer. It was where I cut tracks for local bands, where I poured my soul into music after long days at my day job. Jake, a wannabe influencer with a knack for bad decisions, had no right to touch it. I called him, my voice tight. "You rented my studio? To who?" "Some DJ," he said, casual as ever. "Chill, man, it's just for a few weeks. I owed money at the Rusty Spur. They were going to blacklist me." "You had no right," I said, gripping the phone. "That's my equipment, my space." "Dude, you're never home," he scoffed. "It's just sitting there. I'll split the cash with you later." He hung up, leaving me staring at my coffee, rage simmering. Jake had been a leech since we'd moved in together, eating my food, borrowing cash. But this was a new low. What he didn't know was that my studio was locked with a smart system only I could access, and every piece of gear was insured with serial numbers logged. He wasn't getting away with this. I texted my friend Sarah, a paralegal in Boulder. "Jake's renting out my studio without permission. Legal options?" She replied fast. "If it is your property and your name S on the lease for that space, he's got no authority. Get proof of his texts and any rental agreement. We can nail him." I screenshotted Jake's message and sent it to her, my mind racing. The studio wasn't just equipment. It was late nights mixing tracks with my dad before he passed, his old guitar still hanging on the wall. It was where I'd recorded my first demo, where I felt alive. Jake treating it like his personal ATM was a betrayal I couldn't let slide. Back in Boulder a week later, I checked the studio first thing. The smart lock was untouched, but a stranger's gear, some cheap turntables, was stacked outside the door. Jake was on the couch, scrolling through his phone, probably chasing likes. "Hey, man," he grinned, oblivious. "You're back." "Who's the DJ?" I asked, voice calm but cold. "And where's the money?" He shrugged. "Some guy from Denver. Paid me $1,000 up front. Don't worry, I'll hook you up later." "You stole from me," I said, stepping closer. "That studio's mine. You can't rent what you don't own, and I've got the text to prove it." His grin faltered. "You're making a big deal out of nothing." "Nothing?" I laughed, bitter. "I've got a lawyer drafting a cease and desist, and the cops are next if you don't fix this. You're done, Jake." He stammered, but I walked away, calling Sarah. She'd already tracked down the DJ through Jake S. Venmo history, a guy named Trey who thought he scored a legit deal. I called him, explained the situation, and he was pissed but cooperative. "Jake said he owned the place," Trey said. "I'll back out if you send proof." I emailed him the lease and my equipment insurance docs, and he agreed to cancel the deal. Sarah helped me file a police report for attempted theft, citing Jake's unauthorized rental. The next day, I confronted Jake with a printed cease and desist letter. "You've got 24 hours to return the money," I said, "or the cops take it from here." He tried his usual charm. "Nate, come on, we're buds. I was going to pay you back." "No, you weren't," I cut him off. "You thought I'd let this slide like always. Not this time." Jake moved out a week later, tail between his legs, after returning the $1,000 under threat of charges. The police kept the case open, and I heard he was scrambling to cover legal fees. I upgraded the studio's security, adding cameras, and got back to recording. One night, I played Dad's old guitar, the notes filling the room, and felt whole again. Jake had tried to take my sanctuary, but I'd fought back and won. The studio was mine, and so was my peace.